Hey people, what's up? And I'm gonna talk about the recent Nicole Arbour video and a few of the replies. I'm not gonna name names particularly, just mainly the arguments and what I think she got right, what I think she got wrong. Now, in the video, she talks about fat people. Everyone knows the recent outcry about, what she was on about. She was basically talking about a large group of fat people. They're not the majority, and they're not necessarily, a massive problem, I guess. It's mainly the people that support them that are the issue, which I think she should really have addressed. And I'll get to that in a minute. So she made a video about fat people, addressing 35% of fat people. The people who can help being fat, the people who can help lose weight, the lazy ones, as she likes to tell us. And let's just see what she got right. Well, firstly, she definitely got right. There are definitely some people, and these are mainly the people on Tumblr, the families who don't have any, sort of restraint on how they eat and how they look after themselves. The family that she talked about, well, fat family that she called it. What she got, and basically the whole idea of, I think she was trying to have a go about body positivity, and how some people think this it's totally okay to be fat. There's no problem whatsoever. The Tumblr types, the people who are on Tumblr ranting and raving about thin privilege and how people like me have a privilege just for being thin, even though people with anorexia don't have a privilege. These people are ill, and I, for a good while in my teens, was underweight. Not like underweight to the point I was going to die or anything, but just underweight. Man, I don't feel like I have any privileges. I mean, compared to another thin person who is their own natural weight, I have a bit of disadvantages to them. I'm not sure what I am now, I haven't weighed myself, but I can't pick up as heavy a weight as some people. It's not all muscle, sadly. And for a starter, I'm not very good in cold weather, although I can handle it better than other people, let's be honest. I don't usually feel cold when the air conditioner's on, if you get what I mean. So that's what she was referring to. She was referring to those people, the Tumblrettes, the body positivity people, the people who complaining about fat shaming, and she says that it doesn't exist. Does it exist? Well, what do you mean? Do you mean, are people shamed by being fat? Are people shamed because they are fat? Or are people actually being oppressed because they're fat? Let's break it down. Now, some of her detractors say that it does exist and that people are being oppressed because they are fat. I think that she did not make a distinction. She should have said people are being shamed because they are fat, because it's easy to attack them with. Look, if someone's got, say, a massive pimple on their cheek, people are going to use that against them when they're getting trolled or when they're getting bullied. I was a spotty teenager, so people used my spots against me, and that caused me body positivity image problems. But because I'm thin, apparently I'm still privileged to these people. Now, are people being oppressed because they're fat? She said no, hence why she thinks that fat shaming doesn't exist. And I think she has a point, but she didn't really expand on it. She was more interested in telling a joke. She was trying to tell people these silly jokes that were, I'd say that she was trying to be edgy, but we'll get to that. I think I agree with her that fat shaming definitely doesn't exist. I don't think the whole society is shaming fat people. They're not. Some people are shaming fat people because they're bullies or because they are trolls. And because, look, if someone's fat, it's easy to make fun of them because look at that. That is a thing that people can use. That's just right there as an easy target. They are easy targets. And it's not necessarily all fat people's fault. It's not necessarily they have issues. And she did tell the audience. It was not to the people who cannot help it, you know, the people who have disorders and illnesses. It was directed at the people who can help it. And now some people complain to her that all of them can't help it. Like, it takes a massive amount of effort to, you know, mentally and physically to get out there and shed the few pounds. And I'll be honest, as a thin person, even I find it difficult to be motivated to get up and run around the park that I live near or go to the gym in town. That's not because I require some great willpower, it's because I can't be arsed. I'm lazy. I admit it. And that's what some people like, some fat people like. Nobody hates fat people that I know of. Nobody despises them. They're not a group that is being oppressed. They're not a downtrodden group. They're not a minority in that sense. They are a minority in the sense that, you know, not everyone is morbidly obese or fat. A lot of people are overweight, but not they are a minority. Most people are just normal. They're just, you know, the size that they should be, naturally. You know, what their body can support. But, so, we can't just then say that society is against them. I've not seen this. Yeah, they talk about the media and they talk about drama. Well, take it this way. You know, some of the greatest protesters and some of the most famous people in the world were fat, who gave great things to the world, and nobody has an issue with them, and nobody has an issue with the people who haven't done great things. It's just people. It's just easy to bully people with because it's a target. I don't mean that as a pun because it's a big target, but there we go. And she also talks about how, you know, they sit on planes. That was a long funny thing, and how she says that you can help it. You do not have this horrible mentality that you can't do it. And I think she's right and wrong with that. And let's just talk about what she got wrong. I think her skits largely took away from the message. They were largely kind of non sequitur, and when she was getting into a point, she interlaced it with a joke that I thought, it's amusing, but please, you can be funny and amusing while making your point. I thought that the edginess would have annoyed a lot of people. And I'll be honest, when I first attempted to watch it, I couldn't really get past her persona. That's not anything against her, that's just not my taste. And when I eventually got down to watch it, I thought she was a little bit amusing. Like, I could see what she was trying to do. She was trying to do a George Carlin, Richard Pryor style delivery. If it was in a stand-up setting, maybe it would have been better. And I think that didn't help, the fact she was having this snarky, sarcastic kind of persona, which maybe made people think she was shaming them when she wasn't. I do think that there was an element of looking down on them, but I don't think that was intended to oppress them or anything. It wasn't meant to make them feel ashamed of themselves. Really, I think she was trying to say something that a lot of people have been meaning to say to these social justice warrior type fat people. You know, the Randy Harpers and the thin people privileged Tumblr people. You know, that you're lazy, you have no right to, you know, force us to do whatever just because you're fat, you know. That's what she's trying to say, but she kept saying it in such an immature way, I guess, if you can label it that. I think the message didn't quite deliver, didn't cross. And, you know, I guess I will name names now. No, people like Boogie saying that he's no longer her friend now just because she said something about fat people. Oh, come on, grow a thicker skin, okay? Look, she was harsh, very harsh. She was sarcastic, snarky, all of that. But she doesn't hate you, Boogie. She wasn't necessarily directing it at you. She's directing it at the people who can help being fat, okay? She made it out very clearly. Now, here's an issue I also have, and I don't know if it's to do with the message or not, but she didn't allow comments and she didn't allow ratings. And I guess this is a criticism. It's not necessarily a criticism of the message, but I guess you can maybe tie it into the message. I don't know why she did that. I don't know if she was expecting a massive response. I guess, well, she did. I guess she was expecting a response, hence why they're not there. But if she was so sure of her message, then she would have left the comments open, the ratings open, and just take the hits. take the hits from the social justice community, take the hits from the thin privilege, body positivity image people. And to be honest, these people do need to be criticised. Just because these people are fat and apparently oppressed on Tumblr, that these people can't be questioned. I think they have some things that need to be criticised. I think it's right that these people need to be told that they can. Not all fat people are unhealthy, you know. Some people can try and try and try. And I remember we had a friend of a family once who, you know, she tried everything, but, you know, she just couldn't lose the weight, she couldn't shift it, and it wasn't her fault. But she was healthy, by all accounts. But these people think there's nothing wrong. These people think there's nothing wrong with them being fat. There's nothing wrong. It's my problem, not theirs. And those people need to be called out on it. You know, watch the internet aristocrats video on thin privilege if you want an idea about those people that I keep referring to. That's what she was trying to do. When she meant dear fat people, she really meant dear body positive people, really. If she hadn't have said fat people, it would have made the message a lot clearer to people. Because you can say, I don't mean this group of fat people, I mean this group of fat people, but when you label the video dear fat people, it already puts the image into people's mind that this is directed to everyone who are fat. And this is why I think it's had such a negative response. I think a lot of what she said was true, especially, you know, with the body positive people. I don't think she should have disabled comments and ratings. I think that makes her look a bit weak. I think she could have done better without it. And what else could she have got wrong or right? Well, honestly, I think the fat family thing wasn't necessarily a good, you know, idea to use as a example, because one, and Boogie did specify this, that when people use these dear fat people videos, they often have a invisible person that doesn't exist. Now, you know, sure, there probably are people out there that exist, but if you don't have someone who's actually like that, I mean, she could have used someone real, like the singer from Gossip. She's a body positive, feminist, social justice warrior. Well, I don't know if she's a social justice warrior, but she is a feminist and is body positive. She could have used her and any of her arguments in the video, but she didn't. And sadly, you know, Boogie had her on that. You're using someone imagined, therefore you can say that, well, not all people like that, clearly. Who are these people? Show me these people. She had no evidence for that. But anyway, I guess, at the end of the day, I don't think she said anything remotely controversial. I don't think she was trying to shame all fat people. She wasn't even trying to shame even those other people. She was criticising them, using sarcasm and snarkiness, I think. I don't think she intended to come across as prejudiced. I don't think you can be prejudiced against fat people. I think you can totally be horrible and nasty to them, but at the end of the day, they're not an ethnic minority. They're not LGBT. They are people who can, you know, change the way they look, you know. Not everyone, not all of them, but at the end of the day, they're not a protected class, and they shouldn't have privileges just because they're fat, like what these body positive people want. And I don't think that fat people should be, you know, exposed to those social justice warriors who said there's nothing wrong with you whatsoever. You're fine, you're healthy, no need to lose weight, gain the weight. The fatter the better, the thinner the worser, you know. So, what do you guys think? Do you think, you know, fat people need to stop all this body positivity, fat shaming nonsense and lose weight if they can? Do you think Nicole Arbour was right? Do you think everything she said was spot on? Do you think the way she went about it was correct? Or do you think the complete opposite? Do you think fat shaming exists? Do you think fat people deserve rights? Do you think thin privilege exists? Do you think Nicole Arbour was wrong in every single way? I want to hear your thoughts. This has been Channel 93. Like and share the video, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you all later.